Hey guys, so before I start with the talking points and go through everything on the video, I just wanted to test out what it's like to have my face up front here. Yeah, so I'm hoping to do a lot of stuff with the channel coming up. I've got this thing that I want to do. Oh fuck it, I'm not gonna tell you guys yet. I'll tell you soon, but it's gonna be more toward drawing and more toward um, drawing for comics. Um, all right, so again, welcome. Um, this episode's episode 11, and it's all about comic prep. So, prep is in preparation, and essentially, it's something I haven't seen a lot of. At least a few things I point out, I haven't seen a whole lot of. At least not on YouTube. But there's so many, YouTubers out there with different videos that I can't possibly see them all. I'm sure somebody's done it at some point in time. It breaks down to a few extra things you should do in addition to the normal things you do for prep, like reading the script. And speaking of reading, you probably need to reread it more than once. One time's good for enjoying it or seeing how much you enjoy it, and then second time is just to kind of pinpoint things, maybe even sketch a little bit down. But if you want to read it three times, that third time you're going to have the best idea for it, and then you can start breaking down things. So here's the script that I'm using. This is a 3-pager short story written by Wes Locker. Loker, maybe. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But either way, got the script from him a while back. And he's a great writer, so I wanted to fulfill this. But this is a 3-page story that I'm working on. And so I read it 3 times or more, probably, several times. And then you do sketches. And I pretty much think that's a normal process. And you write down, you draw your sketches, and then sometimes I'll superimpose digitally or just put them into layouts like this, like we have here. And from here, you just like any other layout, you want to see if you're getting a good flow and if you like what's happening, if you're getting good action. And you see on the second part here, I liked what happened on the bottom, but I didn't like what happened at the top. So I don't really want that top piece, and I'd rather do what I did down at the bottom. And I'm not even paying attention to character design or what they look like, or even just made the basic figures and just trying to get the flow going, and just to get the general idea and see if there's a flow to things. And I like what I have here, but I've moved on since this video. But here we go. Tool number 1, guys, break down your actions into text. And I'll show you what I mean here. It's essentially the same thing you do with the layouts, but with keywords. So, for example, on page 1 here, panel 1, you can see in the first little box there, I have first shot of hotel and Murray, and I have mysterious / shadows. So it's the basics of what needs to happen. It's the preliminary, the first shot, so you have to show the environment as much as I can, and then to the next to that box I have low angle, and there I'm describing the camera. So you want to do that for the rest of them, and then you can move on. That all starts from something that I have here, which is when I'm first reading the script, or the second time, third time I read the script, I have these little notes that I take as well. And this is the beginnings of that chart. It's essentially what do I need to show in this? And then I list all the things I need to show, and then maybe that'll help me lead to a keyword that summarizes it. And this just helps me really stay focused in the storytelling. I mean, a lot of people don't break it down this much, but I'm really learning the process, a lot recently, and this really helps. So I figured to help other people, make the stories they want to make as clear as possible. So in addition to reading the script multiple times and making thumbnail sketches and then doing your layouts, it really helps to do this text breakdown. So on to number two. Tool number two is a top-down story map. And what I mean by that is almost like a flow from a top view of where your cameras are and your characters are. If you've ever seen an isometric game, which is just there's no vanishing points on an isometric view. So what I have here is the floor is flat, and then I give a little bit of height. Pretend there's a vanishing point up to the top left or the top right, and you just give a little bit of height so you can see the walls. And essentially, from here, I draw these little cameras like I'm doing here, and I plan out where I want the characters and where I want the cameras, and it just really helps you visualize where everything is. Otherwise, this is a made-up world. I'm in a hotel room. This is my hotel map, but you could easily be working in like an unknown world or a fantasy type of world where you don't know where everything is. You need to map it out, and that especially for those things where you don't have any reference for, because obviously I could pull up reference for hotels and I don't really need to do this map, but it still helps. So I'll draw in little cameras. Sometimes I'll draw in characters, and I'll plot them out and I'll label them, and it really helps figure out where everything is, especially if you have a lot of pages and you're back and forth between different environments, and you don't get a chance to work straight through all your pages. You could always come back to this reference, and it's I think invaluable. So here I even drew the bathroom there that I just colored in. I didn't even need to. That's where the bathroom would be in a hotel room. It's not in the story, but I know it's there, so I drew it in. And from here I can show you kind of how I add in these cameras. I just essentially look at my layouts and go back and forth between the layout and the top-down map, and it's pretty seamless, just like as you would with a camcorder or whatever. I don't think they use camcorders anymore, but still, you look at your shot as if you're looking through a viewfinder. You see where those tables are, and I see where that guy is, so I guess I'm going to put the camera almost against the wall opposite of that table and chairs. And I have this little pole here in the foreground, which I don't have on my map right now, but I can add it in real quick. It's essentially what I thought would be a better option for the light. It's like a floor lamp. So I'll draw that, and I'll draw a little bit of height just to give me an idea what it is. It's the crappiest lamp I've ever seen, but that's kind of my anchor point to where it's right in front of the camera, so I know wherever that lamp is, that's kind of where the camera's going to go. And you can do this with every shot. So essentially, I go to the next panel and I look at the same thing. It's right behind the table. I can add it facing the opposite way towards the door, toward the bathroom, and you just find your camera. And it's not too hard if you know a little bit of perspective, and maybe I'll have a perspective video coming, wink wink. So essentially I'm going to draw on this little camera because that's exactly where it would be, right next to that light, and then I can mark it, label it, and I'll put the panel number to make sure I get the right camera go into the right panel, and you don't want to get that confused. So as I'm going here, obviously the second panel is the eye, and that's going to be right in front of the character, which is right in front of the table. And then you move on to the next panel and so on. And as long as you get all of them plotted out, you'd have a great reference point. So tool number 3 is pretty standard, but it's character studies in orthographic views. Not necessarily the orthographic part, but a lot of people do studies before they start, because otherwise you're pretty lost. But if you're not sure what an orthographic view is, it's essentially when you take a 3D object, which everything is, and you make it look 2D, which is essentially flat. You're not going to use the depth axis of your viewpoint. So I'll take my sketches that I have here, for example, of this lady and this guy here, and I'll make them side by side, flat, where you see the front view, the side view, and then I'll do a 3/4, which is technically, it's still orthographic because there's no vanishing point really, but this one's done. This is Murray, and you just want it to be to scale, and you want it to match up all the eyes and the nose and all the different features match up between front and side view, and make it the way you want it to look. You kind of want it to be in the style of what it's going to look like in the comic, because that just makes it even easier to stay on. You're essentially making a standard sheet. This is the standard sheet to what he looks like. So you have his front, side, then you kind of use the two to find what the 3/4 looks like. And this technique was taught with, I think Alvin Lee taught it in his comic class for schoolism. So I saw that and I was like, man, this is invaluable. A lot of people do studies, but I like the way he does it orthographic. That way, I don't know, it's very scientific, if you will. It's like very technical, and it's a great fallback for you if you're lost with a certain perspective, and you can always look back on these. So I've done Murray already, but what I have to do still is the lady, which is Nadia, and I think I want to stop there. But I do have a little bit of the studies done for this gun as well, and you maybe want to do props a little bit just to kind of get, especially if you're not familiar with the prop. But it's good to do as much study prep as possible. So with no further ado, I'm going to do a little time-lapse video of me working on Nadia's orthographic, and just to show the process and get a little bit of the art side in this video, get a little appeal. Anyway, I want to just run through the 3 that we talked about again, that way you don't forget them, have to rewind. It's 1, making text breakdowns for your panels with just the best keywords you can come up with. That way you can easily and clearly tell a story. And then 2, a top-down map showing the story and where the cameras are moving to from one point to the next point, from one panel to the next panel. And 3, they're showing here the studies. And if you don't want to do it with the graphic, you don't have to, but I find it to be the best option. So I'm going to let the time-lapse play out for this side view drawing, and I'll check in at the end. So I'm gonna let this play out a little bit, but it's nearing the end, so I just want to say thanks to anybody who's liked or subscribed. If you do like my videos, please like, it helps. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more. I've got a lot more I want to do. I want to share a lot more of my journey through comics and learning storytelling. So come learn a little bit with me. Share what you think about my videos, and ask questions, or just share the video if you think it's helpful. I think these tools are really helpful for me. If you're trying to make your own comic, like I'm developing my own, yeah, it's super useful for that. But keep working on your dreams, triple down, and just work hard, put in the sacrifice, and you'll get where you want to go. I'll have more videos coming soon on art and comic penciling. But yeah, I'll see you later.